Welcome back to your 4 to 5. An art history professor at Salem College has sketched out quite an impressive resume. He's published or worked on 23 books, been a member of the White House Historical Society for 20 years, and is currently finishing up 2 new books and updating one of his most popular ones, How to Draw the Presidents.
One of the ones that I guess we're going to talk about a little bit today is How to Draw the Presidents. I mean, here's the book, and this came out last year, and they're doing a new edition this year so that President Biden can be in it also.
It only seems fair. Do you have a sneak peek at what President Biden looks like in your book?
Well, I do actually, because it's tucked in here. I wasn't. Where did I put that? Got lots of sketches in here. But there he is. Joe looks something like this. There he is.
And it looks just
there's the book has a picture of each president, and then for each president it gives you a 4-step method of how to draw them.
What inspired you to do that, and how long did it take you to get through 47?
Well, I've been working for the White House Historical Association since 2001, so I've been practicing drawing presidents for that's 20 years now. So I've gotten so I can do most of them fairly quickly.
So politics aside, who's your favorite president to sketch?
I mean, Lincoln and Washington are 2 of the best, and Teddy Roosevelt is maybe my 3rd favorite because no matter what you do with them, people recognize them. The other ones, like if you try to draw Franklin Pierce for people, they'll Calvin Coolidge, they sort of go, it looks like my uncle. No, I don't know who it is. There are a couple of people who are iconic, and when you draw them, people recognize them. That's the best way to go. Did you want to have an Obama drawing lesson or not?
Yes, absolutely. I think we should do it.
Do you have paper and pencil? You do. You're all set.
I'm ready.
So I think it looked just like former President Obama, right?
You did great.
I actually have my finished product right here. Yes, Mr. Hutton really hooked me up with the drawing lesson today. I'm very impressed. He has written so many books or illustrated so many books, and the ones that he's about to publish this summer, one is about a young girl whose mom works in the White House and is an aide to former First Lady Laura Bush. So a lot of them have ties to the White House, as he is a member of the White House Historical Society.
I love that they he gives you like this little, I don't even know what to call it, a scale or just kind of like a stencil, if you will, so you can kind of figure out how to draw the head and everything after that. That's pretty cool.
He said he really liked the how to draw books when he was growing up, where you'd put different shapes together and then it'd come out like a cat, and this is the inspiration behind it.
Because the hard part with drawing anything is kind of scale, right? You don't make the head too big or the body too. So he did it with those grid lines. It makes it so much easier. That's really good. Maddie, extremely good job there. I want a copy of that.
Thank you. I will actually sign it and send it right over.
Maybe worth some money.
To Summerfield.
Can I get a copy, please? Because I'm gonna let you know.
Wow,
you
I'm doing
did
prints now.
Way better than I could. Art was probably my worst subject in school, from elementary all the way through college. So I can't draw. I can't even draw a hand. So I
tell you what, I will send you the tutorial that he gave me during our interview.
Absolutely, I'm gonna go home and practice.
And Jalen, did you know, Jalen, if you do trace your hand, it could be a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Look at you. That's a Picasso there? Where'd you learn that, Chad?
Yeah, I learned that.
Meteorologist, artist, all type of stuff under your belt.
You know what other type of, I guess, drawing I appreciate are the caricatures. I've always been so fascinated by caricatures.
I think that this is a little bit of a caricature.
I think caricatures have like exaggerated features, right?
Yeah.
I hate getting those because my head's already big and it makes my head look even bigger.
Well, now we got to fill it with stuff. Fill it with some knowledge.
Jalen, I've always said you have a big head, but I didn't mean physically big.
All right, Maddie. That's enough. Thank you.
We'll be right
back. Kidding.
Boom.
Jokes.
Have you ever had a caricature?
No, but I've had a portrait.
Well, it's a nice day of weather across the Piedmont, and unfortunately we need to be spending it preparing for yet our second ice storm in a week on the way to the Triad. And honestly, this one could be even more significant than the one we saw over the weekend. Take a look at this. We have beautiful Carolina blue sky across the sky this afternoon. But do you already feel how cold it is? We have that cold air locking in place. We're in the low 40s across the Piedmont now. But watch as I zoom out on a wider view. Take a look at all of this cold air across the country. And that's what our system is going to be tapping into to change this over to an icy concern instead of a snow or a rain concern. We have this area of low pressure tracking our way from the Gulf. Meanwhile, we have high pressure to our north, and that's been locking in the cold air ever since yesterday. And that's why we already have it in place. So by the time our precipitation arrives, it will likely start as sleet and then quickly change over to freezing rain for several hours tomorrow. It lasts pretty much all day, but by Friday, our system is pulling away from us. We're clearing out and we're warming well above freezing. That will give us a good chance to do some melting. But by that point, unfortunately, I think the damage will already be done. Where is our system now? Well, it's still out over the Gulf. Rain in parts of Louisiana, snow up into Arkansas and places further to the north. By the time it gets here, though, it's not going to be any snow. It's all going to be freezing rain and regular cold rain. Take a look at this. Winter storm warnings are in effect for the entire Triad, and then points to the south are in winter weather advisory. Winter storm warnings for the Triad area, winter weather advisories to the south. And basically, that's just the National Weather Service saying we think this is going to be a dangerous storm. There could be several trees down, and there could be numerous power outages across the area. Notice we're dry through about midnight, and then that precipitation starts to move in. And notice how quickly it changes to freezing rain, because look at our temperatures, 31 degrees. And as long as we are at 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31 degrees, as long as we're below freezing, we're going to keep this freezing rain concern in. And this could last until about 1 p.m. on Thursday afternoon before we warm up just enough above freezing to change this over to regular cold rain. Now, it could happen as early as lunchtime, or it could happen as late as the middle of the afternoon. We're just going to have to play it by ear and watch how long our temperatures stay at freezing. By the evening hours, the precipitation really starts to come to an end. So freezing rain is likely tomorrow morning, and those bridges and elevated roadways are going to become slick first and the quickest. After that, we'll need to watch for falling trees and power outages. It's not so much the roads that are going to be dangerous, it's driving when there could be trees falling in the roadways. Now, as far as totals go, generally thinking 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice is possible in the Triad. That's significant totals. Further south that you go to Asheboro, generally 1/10 to 1/4. And south of Asheboro, just minor glazes of ice. This is a different way to look at it, but it's going to take a while for that ice to accumulate and coat the trees. So the falling trees, the power outages will probably be a bit delayed as we go into the midday and into the afternoon hours on Thursday. Go ahead, charge up devices, move cars away from trees if possible. We'll just take this one step at a time and we'll get through it, but make sure you're prepared. By the weekend, there's a lot of sunshine. We'll do some melting and drying out.
Just about 2.5 weeks from the women's ACC basketball tournament in Greensboro, and like years past, NC State's a top contender. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson talked with their star, a Northern Guilford grad.
We're ranked high, and I'm just excited to go into the postseason.
Not only are the Wolfpack ranked number 4 in the country, junior center Elisa Canane has been producing on offense, reaching 1,000 points in an NC State uniform. That milestone coming in the first game of the season.
It was honestly crazy to me, like, to just hear the stats about, like, who all had done it at NC State and, like, to have my name, like, even in a sentence with theirs.
Canane gives Northern Guilford credit for her success.
It was really just like such a community and family at Northern. The first thing, it taught me how to win. So I think coming to college, like, I expected to win and I expected to play in big games.
Big games coming as the regular season comes to an end and the Pack prepare for the postseason. The ACC tournament here in Greensboro.
When we drive through Greensboro, I just have like a little feeling. So to know that it's like literally like where I'm from, like my house is 20 minutes away. It's just so cool to know like I'm basically on my own territory and it's not like any games are away.
Even though she's excited, Canane says her and her team are taking the rest of the season one game at a time.
I hope that my team is able to just like give it their all, like every single game, and not focus like on the next one, like just do everything we have to do to win the game in front of us.
Up next for the Wolfpack, NC State heads to the Triad to face Wake Forest tomorrow night.
Look at that, local woman making us proud. I remember back when she was in high school here, and we would report on her all the time because she was just like the best in the Triad. And now it's great to see that she's going on doing big things for the Wolfpack.
Absolutely, and I love to see our local talent going to the next level and flourishing at the highest level that there is, ACC basketball and other sports across the conferences. But you know, there's nothing like women's basketball. It's so fundamentally sound, especially at the college level. You know, it's a little less athletic than men's basketball on that side, but when you see them play and you watch them move and they cut and they pass and they shoot with precision, it just makes they play the game how it's designed to be played.
I know one person who is probably so thrilled to know that one of the Triad's best players is now at NC State, and that is our director, Brad.
Yes.
Bald Eagle.
Huge Wolfpack fan and alum.
Big Wolfpack fan.
He would be happy. I am happy because she's a Northern Guilford alum, and that's where my kids go. So I've actually seen her play before, and incredible. And Jalen's right. When you watch women's basketball, the fundamentals, that's what you learn when you watch them, how to pick and roll and do cuts, and you know, it's the way that the game was designed, and a true team concept. So I think a lot of people coming up, whether you're boys or girls, need to watch women's basketball to understand fundamentals.
When I was a freshman at UNC and on the JV cheerleading team, we cheered for the women's basketball team, and they were the most fun games because the fans were so invested. And the team itself was actually better cheerleaders than we were because they just all had each other's back. So we just kind of followed their lead when it came to cheering for the game.
You're right. Crazy to think, though, a couple weeks out from the ACC tournament. Let's hope they can play it here in Greensboro. We've got our fingers crossed, and we got our fingers crossed for Alyssa, too. We'll be right back.
Hey, John, it's Christian. Can you hear me? I don't see him either. It says video starting, but no, I don't have anything. I'm gonna have to drop it later. Yeah, I'll drop it for now.
You know, a lot of industries suffered through the pandemic, but there's one that saw major growth, and it's probably not one that you would expect. We're talking about wineries, but in particular, the wineries in the Yadkin Valley area. There are a lot of them. I spoke with Tourism Director Jessica Roberts about why this is happening. Jessica, you know, it's funny, I've been doing stories lately, almost like good news stories, because we've done so many stories about how COVID has caused places to struggle, but the winery, you know, the industry up there is just flying along. What's going on?
So our Surrey County Wine Trail has been able to expand to 20 wineries. So in the last 6 months, we have had 4 new wineries open up along the wine trail. And since the start of the pandemic, we've had a total of 5 wineries. So we're excited about these new wineries that have come on board that are offering, you know, new experiences, new views here in Surrey County and in the Yadkin Valley.
It's interesting that it still continues to grow. And, you know, one thing that you said before we started recording was that this, you know, they each have individual stories to tell, because sometimes the winery isn't just about the wine, it's about the people that make it.
Right. The wineries, each winery, you know, has a different experience, a different story to tell. You know, many of them being former tobacco farms, many of them being former land of family owners. So each one you go to offers an array of experiences and views and different types of wine for, you know, each visitor to enjoy as well.
And, you know, I think about this too. Wineries by nature have a lot of space, right? I mean, they need that space to grow. So when it comes to COVID safety, it's like it's built into these wineries.
Yes, the wineries have done such an amazing job during COVID with safety protocols, offering, you know, different types of flights for wine, kind of like what they do at breweries, also putting in lots of outdoor seating, many of them being spacious as it is already with outside areas. They're offering fire pits, they're offering space for your fur babies. Many of them have lodging on site as well, and just really catering to the visitor by offering, you know, safety protocols in those places for social distancing as well.
Well, we can't wait to get up and check them out. 20 of them now on the wine trail. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's really cool there, I tell you, and I guess a lot of us probably wouldn't have thought that. So I asked you on Facebook, based on this, what's your favorite winery in the area? Here's what you had to say. We'll start out with Teresa, who said Grove Winery in Gibsonville. I saw them for the first time this summer. She said they had great outdoor concerts this summer during the pandemic, only a 30-minute country ride and very affordable. Rhonda agrees, said Grove Winery in Gibsonville, said haven't been during the pandemic, but it has a great atmosphere, good wine, concert, something for everybody. Jessica said Shelton Vineyards in Dobson, North Carolina in Surrey County. Family run, beautiful scenery, and great outdoor concerts. You see a theme here, don't you? And Lynn Carter cracked me up because she was like, name your favorite winery. She goes, I'm sure you already know, Chilton. She knows me way too well. 20 wineries, and we've told some of their stories here on the 4 to 5 too. There's some really unique things out there. I'm gonna tell you, there's one that she told me about that sort of surprised me, because she said, you got to do a story on this one. They're pairing wine with Girl Scout cookies. That will be a story.
Especially this time of year. You can only do that story, Chilton, if samples are sent not only to your house, but also to the station. I love Shelton Vineyards. They have great crab cakes on the menu. If you're not into drinking wine, you're more focused on the food. My sister actually got married at Jolo Vineyards, which is nestled right at the base of Pilot Mountain, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And then also I went to Metaloni the first time a couple weeks ago, months ago now, I guess, and it was great.
Metaloni, Raffledini, love those places.
I want to go to Raffledini.
And I really want to either invent a train that will take you to all of the spots along the route, or like a bus service, right?
They do have that, Chad. They have a shuttle. Yeah, they have a shuttle that has a whole set line, because they call it the Yadkin Wine Trail. And it takes you from place to place. And you really should check that out. Plus, I like Shelton Vineyards. That's kind of my heart. It's close to my hometown and me and Maddie. But I like it because they have an incredible restaurant on site, and they own a hotel that's close by, and they run a shuttle back and forth. So you don't have to go anywhere. You got everything.
And sometimes the food is just as important as the wine, right? I mean, if you got to offer something that's really tasty to go with that wine.
I have never not been impressed when I visited a vineyard in Yadkin County.
Right.
We got it going on.
Especially later in the visit, everything tastes good, right?
Absolutely. Everything is awesome. That music, the karaoke, it's great.
We'll be right back.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
It's 4:31. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Doing a mic check. You can see all the Duke Energy trucks behind me. Hello. There's actually a ton of them. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to your 4 to 5, 30 more minutes to go here. Eric Chilton with you. Also, Maddie, Chad, Christian, Jalen. The gang is all here, and we've got lots coming up to talk about and prep for all this weather.
Absolutely. I have felt just dread all day knowing that we're going to get more ice. I know that's kind of a downer, but I do not want to deal with this again.
Right. I was trying to figure out like how I could enjoy today before tomorrow, and I just kept thinking about was tomorrow. The governor has already declared a state of emergency. We know that the National Guard has been deployed, at least a couple dozen members of it, to help with cleanup afterwards. So, Christian, what do we got coming down the pike here?
Yeah, unfortunately, guys, this one is really just not looking good. And if you've lived in North Carolina very long, you know that every so often we get one of these pretty significant ice storms, and this one is shaping up to be that, even probably more significant than the one we saw this past weekend. So let's kind of lay the groundwork for you now. There's sunshine everywhere, but notice where our temperatures are. We're in the lower 40s, so that cold air is already locking in place, and that's really what's going to do the damage as our next system starts to arrive. We have winter storm warnings in effect for our entire area. A little further to the south of Randolph County, Montgomery County, Stanley County, those areas are just in winter weather advisories, where there will likely still be some ice, but it will be much more minor icing than what we're expecting to see here in the Triad. This is our storm system right now, well out over the Gulf, still kind of getting its act together, but it will be tracking our way and very quickly as we head towards the midnight hour. Let's take you through in time here on Futurecast and show you we're dry through midnight, but the clouds do start to thicken up tonight. And notice where our temperatures are going to be by the time we get there. We're already going to be below freezing as this moisture is arriving. So this will likely start as a period of sleet and then change over quickly to freezing rain for several hours. And notice how long this freezing rain concern sticks with us. It will stick with us until our temperatures rise above freezing. That could be lunchtime, or that could, worst case scenario, be later on in the evening heading towards dinner time. Once we do warm above freezing, we'll change over to just a cold rain. So here's how it kind of plays out tonight. We're fine through midnight. Freezing rain starts to arrive after 1, and really the first thing to get slick are going to be bridges and overpasses. The coating on the trees, the power outages, those will come later Thursday morning once more of that ice starts to accumulate. But this is really looking like a significant icing situation for us, around a quarter to possibly a half an inch in the Triad. A little further south you go, those totals will be less. Now coming up, we'll dive into detail even more and show you that 7-day forecast when we start to melt this stuff away.
A jaw-dropping prediction from Duke Energy today. It's expecting tomorrow's ice storm will cause 1 million outages across the Carolinas. That's 3 times worse than last weekend's outcome. WFMY News 2's Jess Winters has new information on preparations and projections.
Help is already here, as you can see by the trucks behind me at the Four Seasons Mall in Greensboro, but help is also on the way from other states. You're about to look at a video from this morning. 1,300 Duke Energy line workers coming to North Carolina, all the way from Florida, the Midwest too. Jeff Brooks, a spokesman for Duke Energy, says crews are running on low fuel ahead of these back-to-back ice events. Power in the hardest hit areas like Rockingham County just restored to many last night.
You know, this was a historic storm we had this past weekend in many respects, one of the worst ice storms that many of our crews have worked in this area in many years. And now you put another storm right on the heels of that. The crews have gotten at most a day's rest today, and then they'll be back at it tomorrow.
Duke Energy reported 300,000 outages from Saturday's ice storm in North Carolina. Combined with South Carolina, Duke Energy believes there will be 1 million outages this go around. So it's going to be significantly worse. I know that's not what we want to hear. And despite all this manpower, be prepared. The restoration this time around, just like last time around, is expected to take days.
Well, with the ice storm on the way, a lot of folks went out searching for supplies. Now, most stores are selling out of items really fast. Hardware stores across the Triad, they said they just saw a steady stream of customers. That's no shock to any of us. Folks were running out to get the usual storm supplies, but some items were a little bit hard to come by.
Well, I'm at lunch and I'm running around everywhere trying to find propane canisters, and I got some salt, but they don't have any propane canisters anywhere. So it's tough.
Well, stores like Lowe's, True Value, and Ace Hardware, they ran out of generators, kerosene heaters, firewood, and propane. Most we spoke to say that it will be a while before they're restocked again.
We've gotten many phone calls today on generators. We've reached out to other stores, not only Ace stores, anybody that carries that stuff that we could try to pass on to the customer to help them. Everybody's telling us the same thing. They're out, and it's going to be next week before their stock comes in.
So the things that are still available, though, ice melt shovels and chainsaws, they say they're still available at most hardware stores across the Triad.
Severe weather is the big story in today's 4 to 5 roundup. Much of the South is fighting against a harsh winter storm. The National Weather Service says more than 100 million people are under a winter storm warning, watch, or advisory. Texans have already endured days of snow and sub-zero temperatures. Frozen pipes, pumps, and other equipment left millions without gas or electricity. Governor Cooper is raising concerns over a bill that would require public schools to offer in-person learning. Cooper has said the bill would need to meet state health standards and safety for schools to reopen, and he says it falls short of both. The bill is likely to pass the House, but its future beyond that is uncertain. Buckingham Palace says 99-year-old Prince Philip is in the hospital as a precaution. The palace said Philip is expected to stay there for a few days of observation and rest. We don't know his exact illness, but they've said it is not related to COVID-19. The Queen and Philip were vaccinated against the coronavirus last month.
It is a question that many people want to know. How does Duke Energy decide who gets power first? What is that process?
It is a methodical process for sure. And I can tell you that it's not whatever the crews just happen to stumble upon, right? This is the workflow chart here. It starts with the source and goes all the way to the neighborhoods. But this workflow chart is really just an overview. I asked Duke Energy, how does it work in your town?
The first day really restoring the main power lines that deliver power to the Triad, and then emergency services and essential services around the community. Then we kind of move into the main lines that run through your town. So it would be down the highways and down the boulevards. And then today is very much lines that are in, neighborhoods, back streets, backyards.
Yeah, here's a frequently asked question. Why is my neighbor's power on, but mine isn't? Here's the answer.
The reason that is because neighborhoods are sometimes served by different lines from different directions. So even though you may be on the same street, your power may come from a completely different direction than your neighbor.
I asked 2 other common questions. How come my power turned on and then back off again? And why haven't I seen the power crews again in my neighborhood and my power still isn't on? Both are answered in this 2 Wants to Know web story.
He said touch. Bald eagle.
I think I'm off for the rest of the show, is that right?
Good riddance. Whew.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's really a nice winter day across the Piedmont. Unfortunately, we're not able to enjoy it to its full extent because we're preparing for our second ice storm in yet a week. And this one's shaping up to be quite significant, folks. Take a look at the Triad right now on our weather cameras. You can see you'd never know that an ice storm is on the way with that beautiful Carolina blue sky. But things will change quickly once we get past the dinner time hour and towards midnight tonight. Notice where our temperatures are. We're already in the low 40s, and we haven't gotten much warmer than this afternoon. On a wider view, you can see the entire country is dealing with cold air. Teens up in the Dakotas, around 20 degrees down south and out in the Midwest, and that cold air is being tapped into, starting to fuel the fire for our storm, if you will. High pressure locking that cold air in. The cold air is already here. So that's step one. That's piece one of the system. The second piece is the area of low pressure that's bringing the moisture, and it will track towards the Carolinas out of the Gulf of Mexico as we go over the next several hours. So with the cold air already here, by the time that precipitation arrives, it will likely start as sleet or quickly change over to freezing rain. This is not going to be a period of rain and then changing over to freezing rain because our temperatures will be at or just below freezing. Here's our system now, still out over the Gulf, but it will quickly track towards the Carolinas where we have winter storm warnings in effect for our entire area, where significant icing is likely. A little further to the south, places like Montgomery County, Stanley County, Moore County, those areas are in a winter weather advisory simply because they're still going to get some icing but it will be much more minor than we will have here in the Triad. We're dry through midnight, and then once we get to about 1 a.m. is when that precipitation starts to move in. It could start as a little bit of sleet and then quickly changes over to a period of freezing rain. Notice where our temperatures are, ever so slightly below freezing. And as long as we're 29, 30, 31 degrees, we're going to have freezing rain. Once we come above that and come above freezing, then we'll change over to a cold rain after that. But it could take until lunchtime, or it may take as late as 2 or 3 in the afternoon before we finally start to shut the freezing rain concern off. Here's how things stack up. The bridges, the overpasses, those will get slick first, and then the elevated roadways. After that, we'll start to see those trees get a coating, and then a little bit later, the falling trees and the power outages are a bit delayed because it takes a little while for that ice to accumulate on the trees. Bottom line, that freezing rain concern is the highest around that morning commute time frame through about midday tomorrow. Slick travel, it's possible, mainly going to be on the bridges and the overpasses. Again, elevated roadways, also concrete, interstates, those kind of things. But if you think about it, the roads, as long as they're asphalt, have that ground. That's temperatures are in the 40s in the soil right now, so that will actually help to warm things up. The falling trees and the power outages, again, that concern is a bit delayed because it takes a while for that ice to accumulate on trees. But this is going to be some significant icing, around 1/4 to 1/2 inch is possible for our entire area. A little further south, 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 in places like Asheboro and Lexington, and then south of Asheboro, still a glaze to 1/10 of icing, but the concerns and the effects will be much more minor. I will go ahead and charge up all your devices, have those ready to go, and if you can, park away from trees. I know that's hard to do in North Carolina because we have so many, and I honestly just wouldn't stock the fridge full this evening in case you do lose power. You don't want all that food to go to waste. So we're dealing with this tomorrow, but heading into Friday, the system pulls away from us. We're into the 40s in the afternoon with some clearing, so we should be able to melt everything off, and then the light at the end of the tunnel is that sunshine will be in full supply heading into the weekend.
Yes, but first we have to deal with that winter weather. As it approaches, there is a very good chance we will experience more power outages. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey has some things you might want to consider just in case you're left in the dark.
Well, I don't think there are many people that enjoy the inconvenience of being without power, so I grabbed a few things that we could all use to help make the day a little bit better. First thing first, you're gonna need a source of light, so make sure you got a working flashlight and a fresh set of batteries. A few candles wouldn't hurt either. Just make sure they aren't left unattended. And it'll be a real bummer if you try lighting a candle and you don't have a lighter or matches. So make sure you pick up a couple of those too. Next, you're gonna wanna make sure you got plenty of water. It's my least favorite part of living on the 3rd floor. Also, you're gonna wanna make sure your pantry is fully stocked with non-perishables that you won't get tired of eating. Without power, it's most likely going to cool off quickly inside, so make sure you got enough blankets for everyone. Thanks, Mom. If the blankets aren't getting the job done, it's time to go in the closet, layer up. And if you have an extra comforter, it's about time you break it on out. And after you make all your store runs, make sure you gas up your car. You're gonna need it for a couple reasons. And make sure all your electronic devices are charged up too. And if things get real bad, the car is always a great source of heat. Plus, you can always charge up. I know the forecast is all doom and gloom, but I just had a few tips to try to help you guys out. Big shout out to my mom for being my photog there. I know, as we prepare for this weekend, make sure you join us on Facebook. Come holler at us in the chat section. We're there having fun, having a great time. There's no Chad.
Hey, John, it's Christian. How you doing?
Hey, Christian, good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you pretty good. If you don't mind, just count to 10 so our directors can get a mic check on you real quick.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
You guys okay in there? Does it? Hey, if you don't mind, keep counting for us real quick.
What's that now?
If you don't mind, just count again for us to 10.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I think that's a little better.
Okay.
All right, man, hang tight. We'll be right back in just about a minute and a half.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Well, I mentioned it just a couple minutes ago. We really do have a beautiful winter day on our hands here in the Piedmont. It's a shame that we're having to spend it preparing for yet our second ice storm in a week here in the Triad. And what I want to do is take a ride up the road into Rockingham County and check in with one of our longtime veteran weather spotters, Mr. John Cobb, in the Bethany community. Good afternoon, John. How you doing?
Hey, Christian, good. How are you doing? It's hard to believe that there's a nasty winter storm moving to the south.
I know, hard to believe it, but we're glad you're with us this afternoon. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on today, where your temperatures have been, and I guess it's pretty much been all sunshine for you up that way.
Yeah, it's been mainly clear skies today. A few clouds came through around noon. We had a high temperature of 48 degrees today, but really a light breeze. But it's cooling off. You can tell it's getting cooler as the sun goes down.
Yeah, you can tell that cold air is really starting to lock in. And the one thing I noticed behind you, John, is all of those trees, that tree line behind you. So did any of those trees come down in our last storm, or do you expect any of those maybe weak and ready to come down with this one on the way this tomorrow?
Yeah, we were lucky, Christian. We didn't have a lot of trees come down around our house. This could be a different story from what you guys are predicting. I hope that doesn't come true, but we were lucky. We maintained power the full time on the last storm. I'm not so sure what's going to happen with this one coming up.
Gotcha. Well, of course, wishing you and everybody else in the Triad the best. Just do the best you can to prepare, and we'll, of course, check back in with you over the next few days and see how you're doing.
Absolutely. You guys stay safe.
All right. Thanks, John. And of course, we always love checking in with our weather spotters here at WFMY News 2. And if you're interested in being a weather spotter with us, you can send us an email, weather@wfmy.com. Like John, go ahead, prepare, charge everything up, and try to move those cars away from trees if you can. We'll be right back.
Hi, mic check, mic check. Most of us don't own an expensive generator.
Enable, like sometimes it'll say video enabled, and that just.
Hey there, important to note, I put time cues in the director's note for 2 cents to take down the super and add it back so you're not covering something up.
Hi there, it could be out for days. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, where do you want me to be for this thing? Top, why? Okay. Okay.
The Greensboro Coliseum is one of the largest vaccine clinics here in the Triad.
Everything good? Let's talk. Let's do it. We're doing mic checks. All.
Hey, can you see me? Can you hear me? I heard you the whole time, but you guys clearly weren't hearing me. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Good.